The 2024 budget is ready and will be presented to the National Assembly this week for appropriation. This budget is a 1.5 trillion naira increase from the 2024 to 2026 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper approved by the National Assembly. And the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning explains that the reason behind some adjustments in the budget approved by the Federal Executive Council. TVC News State House correspondent Femi Akonde has details.
The 2024 federal budget will come with a lot of expectations from Nigerians, especially as it will be the first annual budget of the Bola Tinubu administration, as it gets set to begin full implementation of the Renewed Hope agenda. The Federal Executive Council deliberated on and approved a spending plan of 27.5 trillion naira for 2024. But the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning announced that the crude oil benchmark is now pegged at $77.96 and the Naira to dollars exchange rate is now 750 Naira to $1.
The decision was to use an exchange rate of 750 Naira to a dollar and also a benchmark crude oil reference price of $77.96, meaning $4 more than the earlier approval. This will significantly increase revenue, government revenue.
The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy says there is already a provision for a budget support loan of $1 billion that will be provided by the Africa Development Bank. President Bola Tinubu listened to the update provided by the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee when they briefed the Federal Executive Council on progress recorded so far.
It is to support the government's program overall, but particularly in its regulatory framework for the power sector, strengthening social inclusion, the all-important domestic resource mobilization, tax committee, and the fiscal policy reform efforts that are going on.
The president is expected to lay the budget on the floor of the National Assembly this week, and hopefully the National Assembly will do due diligence and pass the appropriation bill into law. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, so that is what we'll be looking at this morning, Theophilus, just to have a conversation around that matter. This is the first budget the president will be presenting before the National Assembly, and it's meant to reflect his renewed hope agenda, like we pointed out in that report. And he will be presenting that budget before the National Assembly sometime this week, I think tomorrow or so. And it is hoped that the National Assembly will do due diligence with regards to the budget. But then the matter of budget performance has always been an issue over the years, and we're hoping that this time around it will be quite different.
Yeah, it's one thing for the president to present the budget. Is another thing for the people started with the responsibility of marshalling out his what he wants and what he has set out to do what they need to do. Of course, we hope that it helps to also cushion the effects of the economic crunch we are experiencing so far. But so far, so good. There seems to be hope for the economy, especially with this budget appropriation of 27 trillion naira. But of course, we are aware of the $1 billion budget support loan. We are not told how, at what point, on how we are going to be servicing the loan from the bank. But I'm sure they have it all figured out, and I hope that it do not get to a point where.
Theophilus, this matter that you touched on is the concern of a majority of Nigerians. When they heard the government was looking at borrowing $1 billion, for the budget, and you needed to hear how Nigerians were speaking with regards to to this matter, because we already have a debt profile that is $113.4 billion.
So add that.
And it reflects both domestic and external debt.
Yes.
Now, that's in dollars, and if you are to look at it, and now we are looking at $1 billion loan as against what we already have. The question that is on the lips of Nigerians is, how are we going to pay?
How do we service the loan?
How do we service these loans? Do we have the capacity to do so? Because as it is, we are an importing nation as it is. We are import dependent.
Yes.
We are not as much as exporting, except crude oil and a few other things. We do not have as much when it comes to generating funds when we export. So the question is, how are we going to fund or service these loans? That is the issue.
I think the focus of the administration should be towards we exporting our own goods rather than importing, because we import a lot of things, and that affects the Naira. It makes the dollar higher than the Naira. And so if we keep importing while we're borrowing $1 billion added to what we're already owing international community, then it will further affect the Naira. And so as it affects the Naira, it trickles down on the common man. And so it trickles down on the price of food in the market, on the price of furniture, and the price of household essentials.
Every other thing. And that is why there is the question or the call for us to begin to look inward. We have all the natural resources. Yes. We have human resources that we can explore to better the economy. How can we do that? Yes, we need perhaps dollars to improve one thing or the other, to do certain things, but can we actually look inward? Yes, the president came in, pulling the plug on fuel subsidy and all of it. And we have been saving a lot with regards to not paying for subsidy as it is. But Nigerians are asking questions. And I think that it's high time we begin to communicate with Nigerians so we can ensure that transparency in governance, as well as Nigerians repose confidence in government and all the strategy that the government is taking to perhaps cushion the effect of all of its policies, all of its decisions, for Nigerians to understand that at the end of the day, it's in your best interest. True. When the president made his statement, he says he hears Nigerians and that he knows the pains Nigerians are going through. But now that Nigerians are hearing about we wanting to borrow another $1 billion, it's raising another eyebrow. I recall last week the Minister of Finance saying that Nigeria is in no position to borrow. The Minister of Finance mentioned that last week. But here we are now with this report. What exactly are we saying? What are we doing with regards to this matter of borrowing? So if we are in no position to borrow, why are we moving in this direction right now? What are we trying to achieve? So I think statements have to be made in clear terms for Nigerians to understand the direction the government is going. The mantra on which this government campaigned on is renewed hope. So if you are taking steps and Nigerians are beginning to raise eyebrows and are questioning what the steps you're taking is about, knowing the condition we already find ourselves, where a minister has also even said that we are in no position to borrow, I think we need to begin to speak with one voice as a government where we understand, Nigerians understand the direction of the government as it is. Yes, we know that, well, when the president presents the budget before the National Assembly, we see what the National Assembly will do with regards to that, even though the Federal Executive Council has okayed that borrowing of the loan.
Yes, they have. But one thing I like to say is that it's not all uhuru. Some time ago, the NNPCL came out and said that by December, we'll stop importing crude. So I hope that works as well, so that it doesn't
put more pressure.
Naira, put more pressure on the Naira,
Let's just wait to see what happens at the end of the day with regards to this. But Nigerians are not happy hearing this matter of we borrowing again.